What is up, people? What is up, people? This is Abraham Walker with Ask A Walker, your Northern Virginia real estate agent, coming back at you with another live stream show. We go live every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, we have a great show for you. We're going to be covering 100 questions every first-time home buyer should ask. Tonight, we're covering question number 26. We're going to talk a little bit about second showings. So as a first-time home buyer, what should you do with the second showing? How does that whole process work? Do you get enough time, or do you have enough time to look at properties, evaluate properties, and the such? But before we begin our show, just a little housekeeping. We are going to do a presentation, talk about this particular question, give you my insights from a real estate agent's perspective who's been in business for 14 years, and I service the Northern Virginia area. So let's see if this content, if this book translates to our local market. I think that the conversation is going to help you understand the home buying process. And after we finish the presentation, we will get into your questions. So whatever questions that you may have, post those down below in the comment section, and we'll get to them. Also, let me know what location, where you're watching the show from. Post that down below in the comment section as well, and we will get to that at the end of the show. For anybody who's ready to start their real estate journey, there is a link in the description or in my bio to the Perfect Home Questionnaire. Fill out that form to start your real estate journey, and we will answer any and all questions that you may have about the real estate process, whether you're buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate. Let me get my background music together. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. So we have a little background music going. There we go. Let's set the mood. Okay. Let's start the show. So we're talking about second showings, right? So when you're looking at properties, you have obviously a private first showing, but what to do about that second showing? What to do about that second time you want to go to the property? And I want to tell you, a lot of agents don't agree that second showings is something that should be done or need to be done. And there's a good reason why that is the case. First off, in Northern Virginia, our market moves fairly quickly. And because it moves so quickly, it's challenging for you to see a property, have enough time to make a decision, and then schedule a second showing where you would actually be able to still secure that property in the event that it's not already off the market, right? So that's one of the problems with second showings. Second showings present the problem or the challenge of will the property still be available by the time that you see the home? In my opinion, this book gives us a lot of recommendations that are really tied to first showings, right? So I want to go through the steps or through the questions that they say that you should be asking yourself, the observations you should be making, because I think it's important for you to get your first showing correct, right? And it's also important for you to realize that there is a due diligence process that every home buyer should expect or should at least go through when they are buying a property, right? There should be a home inspection on any property that you're going to purchase. You're going to have a financing contingency. In these two things that I just mentioned, financing contingency, home inspection, it's really going to depend on the type of market you're in. So this coming spring, we're already starting to see that the properties are moving pretty quickly. So what type of home inspection is going to be a video for another day, right? So a lot of the things that this book recommends that you should do in your second showing is really going to be the responsibility of your home inspector. But let's talk about what they expect you to do, and you could add some of these items to your checklist for viewing properties. First of all, what is the overall impression of the exterior of the property? Like we mentioned yesterday, the exterior of the property, and I would even say the neighborhood, it's important to It's important to understand that you're buying into a community. So before you get into the property, before you look at and evaluate the home, evaluate the community. Are the common areas maintained properly? Common area maintenance, which is the property that belongs to the HOA, given the fact that most properties over 30 over what is it 70% of properties in Northern Virginia are in an HOA or a condo association. So it's very likely that you're going to be purchasing a property that's in one of these associations. Check out the common area, right? Is the grass cut? Is the signage for the community, is it being well maintained? Is it clean? Those are items you want to think about when you're going through the community. Also check out your neighbors' yards, right? Check out your neighbors' homes, check out your neighbors' front porches, right? Their how do they keep the landscaping? Is there any trash around? These are the things you want to get to before you get to the property. Now, when it comes to the exterior of the property, because a lot of us are limited in what we understand about homes, a lot of the stuff you're not going to really know. So even if you looked at the roof, like this article or this book suggests, what are you looking at when you look at the roof, right? They would like you to see, any buckling tiles, or if the shingles look like they're in disrepair. A lot of that stuff is really going to be up to your experience in the home improvement industry. But there are a couple things you could look for that are going to be very costly. Watching where the water flows is important, right? Water is going to be one of your arch nemesis when you're maintaining your property. And this goes for a single family home more so than a townhome or a condo. But for a townhouse, you still want to be worried about the water as well. Usually townhouses have better grading, so you don't have to worry about water being pitched towards the property or in other areas that you don't see. But when it comes to single family homes, you want to find out, where is that water flowing? Where are the gutters? When you have a sidewalk, is the sidewalk pitching the water into your property, or is it angled away? These are things you can make observations from when you're walking into the property. Is the sidewalk cracked? Concrete is not cheap. It's not cheap. So just imagine everything that you see that may be a problem is probably a couple $1,000s, right? So the sidewalk is important. You want to make sure that there isn't any kind of wood rot or any kind of damage around the exterior of the property, as far as like the window seals, the door jambs. You also looking at the condition of the siding. That's going to be important to you. Siding is hella expensive. It is not reasonably priced whatsoever. And we learned this on one of our listings a couple years ago, that siding discolors, or the sun changes the color of siding over several years. So that means that you won't be able to repair the siding with another piece of siding that looks similar to the other pieces. So that's going to stick out. So it's very likely that you're going to want to replace all of the siding. So you're looking at a multiple $1,000 project. So you want to check that out before you move into the property, and just know that, okay, great. Do I want to make this repair moving forward? Right. So that's the overall impression of the exterior. So we already talked about the roof, which is number 2. Number 3 is going to be windows and door frames. We kind of talked about that. In the interior of the property, you want to look at the windows, and you want to see, like, what is the age of the windows? Are they newer windows? Do they have more features on them, which is going to be a sign that they are newer? Are they double pane? In Northern Virginia, especially in like the older single family homes, they have these 2-pane window systems where there's one window, right, that looks like just a traditional old window, and then there's like this other pane of glass that looks like it's maybe 2 inches away from the window. That is going to be an older window that you probably are going to want to replace sometime in the future, especially because most people stay in properties between 7 to 11 years. Can you deal with those windows the way they are? It's likely that you're going to be thinking about replacing them. So another thing you want to think about with the windows is, are the windows functional? This is something that the home inspector is going to check for you. But you could also check this as well. I don't Most of our first showings are really anywhere from 20 really 15 to 20 25 minutes depending on the size of the property. So there's going to be a lot of information coming at you, but your real estate agent should also be going through some of these processes with you as well. So that's the windows. When it comes to door frames, making sure that the doors open and close properly. There was this $1.8 million property one of my clients was about to purchase in Prince William County. It was on the water, and the half bath on the main living area is a gorgeous new construction property, but the half bath on the main living area, the door swung into the toilet, and the toilet, it was like a concrete floor. So that is just how you're going to have to deal with it. It was a horrible design, but you just want to check out the door jams. Are the doors functioning? Door jams are usually an easy fix, but if they had an animal like a dog that was chewing on the bottom of the door frame, then it's likely that you're going to have to replace the entire casing, which could lead to you replacing the doors, which could get relatively expensive quite quickly. Okay, so this is all stuff you want to be looking at while you're previewing the property. Number four, what are the impressions of the interior of the property? When you're walking on wood floors, especially on stairs, expect to have some type of creak, right? Some creaking sound. Creaking sounds, I'm just going to let you know right now, that is a construction issue, and it is very likely you will not be able to fix that problem. So usually you see it with carpeted areas because the subfloor is not attached properly, but it may be a problem that you will never be able to fix. So you just want to know, are you comfortable with that creaking sound, right? So if you hear the creak, just know that that creak is going to be with you for the rest of your house life. If it's too loud, it may affect your resale of the property. And you want to know when you're buying the property, am I going to have any challenges getting rid of this property in the future? I know some people don't like to think about what happens if I have to sell the property, but you want to make sure that the sellability of your property is on your mind, because even though you have equity in this home, the only way you can get it out is through a cash out refinance, home equity line of credit, or to sell the property, right? All right, let's continue with the attic. So this book recommends that you look at the attic or crawl space. I don't recommend you do that. I'd recommend that you see if you have access to that space. So if you're going to talk about the attic, a lot of these single family homes and townhouses, they're going to have like a small hatch sometimes in your owner's suite closet, or they may not even have an attic if it's a vaulted ceiling. These are just things you just want to check and see if you have access to that. We don't really have too many crawl spaces in Northern Virginia because we have basements in most of our properties. So crawl spaces are usually tied to homes that are kind of elevated, except split levels. So some of our older communities, they have these single family homes that are multi-level properties where you kind of enter, you take like maybe like 6 steps up, and you are in a foyer area, and then you take another 6 steps up, and then you're into a main living area. But in that foyer area, you could also go down to the basement. That's a split level. There will be a crawl space in those types of designs. It depends on the grading too. So check out that area. Just peek inside, see how they maintain the crawl space, see if there's any issues that you want to bring up to the home inspector, right? So a lot of times we're making notes inside of properties for things we want the home inspector to pay special attention to, and for them to give us at least some idea about whether or not this is going to be a major issue in the future. As far as plumbing and electricity, this book is recommending that you turn on all faucets and sinks, and also flick on all the lights and stuff. That is, I don't think that's a really reasonable thing to do, given the fact that a lot of these items are going to be in your home inspection items. And also, how would you be able to really test whether or not the faucet and the sinks are working? How would you be able to gauge that test? It's best to leave some of these items to your home inspector, and to know that you expect to have a home inspection. Even in a fast moving market, you could do what's called a walking talk inspection, where you still have a home inspector come through and do a little preview of the property and check out the major systems and some of these other items that you believe are going to be an issue. All right, when you go to the basement, it's important for you to be paying special attention in the basement. As soon as you get to the basement, you want to make sure that the basement does not smell musty. Musty smells in the basement is usually a sign of poor ventilation and potentially moisture damage. If the air in the basement feels humid and it's not a walkout basement, you may have an issue. We had a client that was buying a property in Montclair. We were under contract. It was a very competitive market. I think this was last year. So we were priced, we bid over the asking price by several, tens of thousands of dollars. But when we were in the basement, I had this funny feeling, but my clients were really excited about the property because of its position in the community. It was a gorgeous lot, golf course view. But when we came to do the home inspection, the home inspector noted that there was a high level of moisture concentration in the basement. I originally smelled some not mold, but I really originally smelled like this musty smell to it that felt like it was moisture in the air. But then the home inspector confirmed that, and then we backed out of the deal, and those clients bought something in Springfield. So basements are important too because you want to find out if there are any cracks in the basement. Sometimes the basement walls are already sheetrock, so there isn't really an opportunity for you to see the exposed cinder blocks or any kind of concrete that really makes up or the true construction of the basement. And if there is a space that's unfinished, then look at that space and see if you see any cracks, right? See if you see any signs of moisture. See if you see any signs of discoloration on the walls. Sometimes discoloration on the walls is a sign of moisture. Okay. Now with the mechanical systems, you really just want to know what the age of these systems are. There's really not going to be a way that you can look at them and make an intelligent decision about what is the true condition of them, because they kind of need to be tested by a professional. And then lastly, pest. If you see, this is also something, pests don't really travel where where humans are walking, so are going to be inhabiting. So it's likely that you won't really see the pest, and you can get a pest inspection. Okay. Now, one of the things I do like about this book that it recommends is that you should envision yourself in the property. So there are a couple questions that it asks you to just ponder. Is how would you feel about coming home to this house after a hard day's work? Where would you relax? Can you see yourself cooking in the kitchen? Will your furniture fit in the different spaces? Is the bedroom quiet enough for sleeping? I don't know how you would even be able to gauge whether or not the bedroom is quiet enough for sleeping, because that's an interesting question to ask. Like, depending on what time of day you're going, I mean, it's not going to be a true representation of your sleeping environment. Anyway, that was one of the questions. Oh, how do you feel about the outside? That's an important question. Where do you think your grill is going to go? Your patio furniture or different furniture? Where do you think you're going to play with the kids? If you have kids, what about the animals? If you have animals, do you want a garden? Is this property going to allow you to do those items? Another important thing is the home on a flight path? So in Loudoun County and in some parts of Herndon, this can be an issue. For a lot of people, because they live around so many people, everybody they don't make any big deal of it. So it's likely that this will become quote unquote white noise in the future, but it's something that you should just consider. Are there children, dogs, dump trucks, airplanes, stuff like that? A lot of this stuff too is tied to time of day, right? So even if your property is near a park, but if you go see the property during school time, then no one may be at the park. So different times of day, your property may have different sounds. Traffic. I personally don't like to encourage clients, or I try to discourage clients against buying properties that back up to parkways, major highways that are on major streets. I just feel like those properties are usually more challenging to sell, and they reduce your quality of life in the back of your property, right? So if your backyard backs up to like a parkway, Then you have rush hour traffic that's going to be an issue. You have weekend traffic that could be an issue for you. So I try to discourage my clients from buying or purchasing those properties. And last question it talks about is, do you feel relaxed in the home? Okay. Now, when it comes to second showings, it's really just not likely that you're going to have an opportunity to do a second showing in Northern Virginia. A lot of our clients view the home inspection as their opportunity to essentially have a second showing. So you want to make sure that you start your home buying process really focused on what are the important issues for me. What are my non-negotiables? What are my must-haves? And what are items on my wish list? If you could find those items in your first showing, then it's very likely that you're going to be placing an offer on that property. Okay. All right. Let's talk about, when do we see second showings in our market? Luxury properties are the time when we really see second showings. Luxury properties are usually properties that are over 1.2, $1.3 million, depending on what part of the county you're in. And those properties usually tend to sit on the market a little bit longer. So they're a little bit larger, and it takes a lot to take in the whole property, right? So for those types of properties, second showings are very common. Also, new construction properties, walking through the model once and then maybe walking the site once, or coming back to look at the model, look at where the lot is going to be. So those are scenarios where you look at um, properties more than once. One thing I noticed about this book, it's trying to get you to minimize. This book is trying to get you to minimize a bad decision. And I don't know if you could really make a bad decision with real estate, given the fact that you only are going to know as much information that's available at the time that you purchase the property. So if you're buying resale, it's not new construction, you're not buying a perfect property. So there are some concessions that you're just going to have to come to terms with in this home. Is it in an ideal location? Is it big enough? Those are things that I think are going to be big ticket items that you want to focus on. The flow of the property is going to be something that you're going to have to decide, if this is going to be a concession or not. Um, you're really not going to know who your neighbors are, right? You're not going to know how noisy the community is, because those things are variables that a lot of people, especially sellers, they just don't share that information with their listing agent. And it's just something that you just get to know as you're moving into the community. All right, next up is this book talks about lowball offers when it comes to seeing a property multiple times. And they talk about what happens if you've seen a property and you're about to place an offer, but you've seen the property so many times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 showings, and the seller won't like it if you submit a lowball offer. First of all, there's really no such thing as a lowball offer, because if you're making an offer, you're still making an offer of several $100,000 on most properties. I don't consider that a lowball offer. Also, what if the seller is overpriced? If the seller's overpriced, who's responsible? Is it your responsibility to give them an offer that they believe is sensible? I don't believe that. The offer should align with what you believe the home is worth, right? Sure, we're going to give you a market analysis. That market analysis is going to be tied to what the past performance of other properties that are similar to this home. But what is a lowball offer? If you believe that the property, if you looked at a $500,000 townhouse and you believe it's worth $450,000, that's the offer to you. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable with the payment. You have to be comfortable with the price that you pay. So don't get your head wrapped around this concept of lowball offer. I think that this is one of those ways that our industry pressures buyers to feel like they should please the seller or to make the seller feel comfortable about what they're doing. I think that this is nonsense, and it's unlikely that the seller and you are going to get together for dinner after this transaction is over. You all are not going to be friends. Like, that's not how this works. This is just a transaction. Do what you believe it makes sense for you when it's time for you to purchase your property. Okay, so that's the gist of question number 26. How do I know when it's time for a second showing? Now, I've got a couple notes here I want to go over with you all. Second showings are, again, if they're available in a buyer's market, you're going to see a lot more people do second showings because a lot more people are hesitant about the transaction. They want to make sure that they can do the right thing. And also, properties are staying on the market for a long period of time. So you could definitely do one of these things where you see a ton of properties and you kind of come back to your top 3 to do a second showing. Imagine where your furniture is going to be. Another reason why you would want to do a second showing, or maybe even go to see the property during the open house, given the fact that it may be on the market. Okay, let's talk about that. So what if you are the type of person who wants to do a second showing, right? If you're like, Abraham, I got to do a second showing. I know I watched your video. I know you said it's not likely, but how can I do a second showing? Well, a lot of times when a property comes on the market on a Wednesday or Thursday, there will be an open house on the Saturday that come in Saturday or Sunday. What we could do is we could schedule you to get a showing for the Thursday or Friday, right? Be one of the first people to see the property, and then do your second showing at the open house. That way, that satisfies your needs to go see the property twice, if that option is available. Not every property that comes on the market, they're going to have an open house. So, and also not every property that comes on the market, they're going to have a showing or an offer deadline, right? So time is of the essence when the market is hot. All right. Next note I have here is when you're scheduling showings, make sure it's only for properties that you believe you would buy. Showings are not just to kind of to place feelers for properties. These are people's homes. A lot of them leave their homes to let you see the property, to let you engage with the property. So it's important for you to just be respectful of both the owner's time and of your time as well. One thing that's unique about our business model is that we do not cap the number of properties you will see. We do not cap the number of properties you see. So if you want to see several houses to feel comfortable about your decision, then that is just what needs to happen. I know some may just try to present the idea that they're only going to see 3 properties like on TV and then make their clients make an offer. I feel like that's unreasonable given the fact that this is such a large purchase. So we don't do that. So that is it. That's question number 26. Question number 26, what to do in a second showing. We're back here every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't think my TikTok community likes this new angle here, so we're gonna change this up. Let's see. Can we change it up? Settings, comments, gift limit. No, I don't think we could change the view. Host, interest. Okay. All right. Well, this is a good note for next time. Excellent. All right. So now we're in the part of the show where we answer any questions that you may have about the home buying process, the home selling process, investing in real estate. We'll stay on. I'll stay on as long as you have questions. You post them, I'll answer them. If you're ready to start the home buying journey, home selling journey, there is a link in the description to the Perfect Home Questionnaire. Fill out that form and we will schedule a time to meet online via Zoom to answer any and all of your questions. All right, there we go. There we go. Let me know what your location is. And post your question down below. We'll stay on, like I said, as long as you have questions. A little microphone. I need to tighten this up. All right. Do. Okay, let's talk about a topic while we wait for your questions. Let's see. iPad. All right, there we go. All right, so this is a good little conversation I like to have with people about the fact that some people are buying homes outside of the more densely populated areas because they believe that work from home or teleworking is going to be here forever. And I think that this is highly risky. You see in this article here on fortune.com, it says that this is not an employee choice. The CEO of Morgan Stanley gets real and says employees can't simply choose to work remotely. I think that it's highly risky to purchase a property with the idea that you're going to work remotely, but then you move so far away from other potential positions, other potential employment opportunities, that you run the risk that if you're ever laid off or if you ever want to switch jobs, you may now have to do something, with your property, right? You may have to sell your property. You may have to rent it out. You never really wanted to be a landlord. Like there's all these other things that come with purchasing a property just tied to remote working, right? So this is something I think is highly risky. We do know there's a lot of people right now, especially buying in the Fredericksburg, Stafford area, parts of Loudoun County, because they are like, you know what, Abraham, I can get a bigger house and I'm gonna work from home forever. And I try to warn them or caution them around this notion. But as you can see, some of these companies, they want you to come to work. They want you to come to work. Okay, let's look at another article. My wife sent me this article on today. Dan Snyder is selling his Potomac estate home for $49 million. If it sells at that price, it will be the biggest residential real estate sale ever in the DC area. $49 million. This place looks gorgeous. I guess when you're a billionaire, what can you expect? Look at this driveway. Nice views of let's make this a little bit larger here. Can we zoom in? Come on now, iPad. You should let me zoom in. Anyway, so we have a gorgeous little home there. Gorgeous little home. Look at that fireplace. That fireplace is massive. What would you do if you had a $49 million home, I mean, you'd have to have a lot of people over just to make this place feel welcoming. This is Dan Snyder's home. He has it listed as his Potomac Estates property. Look at those views. That looks like a closet right there. Closet looks like some people's bedroom. Oh, okay. This is a modest bathroom. Post your questions down below. We'll answer any questions that you may have. We're just checking out Dan Snyder's $49 million home that he just listed on the market. It's in Maryland. It's on the Maryland side of things. $49 million. Can you imagine what the mortgage is on a $49 million property? It's very likely he paid all cash for this, so there isn't a mortgage, but my goodness. Could you imagine the upkeep on what appears to be over 10,000 square feet? This property has a six-car garage. 6-car garage. That's wild. Interesting. So in the garage there's a Maybach, which makes sense. But then there's a Range Rover. I didn't see that coming. And then there's a Cadillac, it looks like. Interesting. See, I would have thought there would have been like Bentleys and Rolls Royces. Not to say that a Maybach isn't a respectable car, but I guess that's how you keep your millions of dollars. You get a luxury just above the luxury line, right? And then they have gorgeous views of the Potomac. So yeah, Dan Snyder. So if you all are in the market for a $49 million property, let me know. I'm pretty sure I can assist you with that one. I can't even imagine what the commission is going to be on that. 49 million. Let's see. Let's assume that the commission is like 2.5%. 2.5% commission times $49 million. The commission on that one sale is $1.225 million. So $1,225,000. That's wild. So yeah, let me know your questions. We'll stay on as long as you have them. If you don't have them, then I will see you on tomorrow. We'll stay on just a little bit longer. Washington. So for the people who are relocating to this area, Washingtonian is a great local magazine. It covers the DMV area. So that's DMV stands for Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. And when they're talking about Maryland, they're really talking about like the Montgomery County, Prince George's County area. So they're not really talking about everything else, possibly Howard County. And then for Virginia, they're only talking about Northern Virginia. So they're talking about from Stafford up to Stafford, Prince William County, Loudoun County, and then everything to the east. So Fairfax County, Arlington, and Alexandria City. So there's also another local magazine called Northern Virginia Magazine. So another place that you can get some great content from, great ideas. Also access to nice little vendors list as well. So Northern Virginia Magazine. Arlington also has a magazine. I think it's called Arlington Living. Let me just find that for you. Arlington County Magazine. Okay, Arlington Magazine is called Arlington Magazine, so that's simple enough. That's another great source if you're moving to the Arlington area. Even if you're not moving to the Arlington area, Arlington Magazine posts a lot of interesting articles, things to do. That's another place to get some good content, understand what's going on in the area. City of Alexandria also has a magazine. that magazine. Let's see. Alexandria City. That magazine is called Alexandria Living Magazine. And so that one's focused on Alexandria City and Alexandria Fairfax County. So those are all great little magazine services for you to check out to learn more about the area. They are all chock full of things to do if you want to have an interesting experience living here as well. All right. All right. Last call for questions. If you don't have any questions, then I will see you all on tomorrow. Post your questions down below and we'll get to them. If you don't have any, then I'll go have some delicious dinner. I don't know what my wife cooked earlier today, but I know one thing. It has the house smelling some good. I tell my wife all the time she has to get herself a wife because this is amazing. This is an amazing experience. But yeah, so post your question down below. And if you watch this, if you're looking for the rebroadcast or the version of this video that lives on forever, go to our YouTube channel. Go to our YouTube channel, Where to Live in Northern Virginia, to see all of our live stream videos and also our published videos. If you're ready to start your real estate journey, whether that's buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, there is a link in the description to the Perfect Home Questionnaire. Fill out that form and we will schedule a time to meet online via Zoom to answer any and all of your questions. All of your questions. I love answering questions. I love helping my viewers make great decisions about real estate. And I love talking to you all, just catching up with you all, seeing how you all are doing. It's nice to talk to our viewers. All right. Once this song ends, if we don't get any questions, then we will say good night. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining me on tonight. Today we covered, how do I know when it's time for a second showing? Question number 26 in our 100 questions every first-time home buyer should ask. Tomorrow we will be back with question number 27. When do I know I've found the right house? I think that's going to be a great show tomorrow. We'll get into some little details about when to pull the trigger. I think that'll be a great conversation and a great jumping off point for a lot of people who are in the market to buy a home. And also sellers. A lot of sellers are buying homes on the flip side. So that's it. If you have any questions for me, post them down below in the comment section. I will answer and respond to any comments that you may have. Otherwise, I will see you on tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.